is imploding and violent crime is on the rise. So just how bad is it going to get as some on the far left continue to push efforts to defund the police? Joining us now with reactions, civil rights attorney Leo Terrell and Fox News contributor Ted Williams. Leo, I want to start with you here. Come on. Is this really the way we're going to do this? I mean, one of the definitions in the city council in Minneapolis said that the head of this new department, the holistic one, have non-law enforcement experience. That's what they're looking for. Somebody who has non-law enforcement experience to replace the police department. Really?
Well, Jason, let me tell you right now, the extremists have hijacked the Democratic Party. I know about the Democratic playbook. It's play the race card and ignore black on black crime. In Seattle, they claim that they're dismantling the police department because of excessive force against people of color. Jason, there is more black on black crime than police misconduct against black individuals. They have used the George Floyd case, a horrible case, to dismantle police. And what is happening is, it's happening in democratic cities throughout America. The most ridiculous thing, Jason, is that they claim there is systemic discrimination in democratic cities where the people of color run the government. I would pay any mayor in any of these democratic cities to debate me to establish systemic discrimination in Chicago, Baltimore, Atlanta, or LA. It's impossible. There is no systemic discrimination, but they're playing the race card and they're ignoring black on black crime, which is the #1 killer of black men.
Exactly.
They don't potential in Chicago. That's certainly one of the factors. Ted, what's your reaction to what Leo's saying?
Well, no civilized society can survive without public safety. Public safety, is threatened when you talk about disbanding or defunding a police department. Who are you going to call?
Police
when somebody's breaking into your home? There's a criminal element out here that's trying to do us harm. But there's another side to this, and that is that police officers must be held accountable. I was just listening earlier to the case of a young kid, Elijah McCain, out in Colorado, who was going home, who was stopped by law enforcement officers. They got on top of him. He started vomiting. They took him to the hospital, and as he was going to the hospital, he died of a heart attack. So what I'm simply saying is, we cannot excuse the fact that there are some bad police officers out here, but we also must realize that there are a lot of excellent police officers out here who are trying to do their job, serving and protecting the members of their community.
Well, let me just make this point. This is very important. It's 98% of the officers are great. They protect us at 2 and 3 in the morning. And here's the irony of this whole situation. Black lives say they could care about all black lives. I have a family member who's black, who's in law enforcement. Does her life matter? She's out protecting black people and white folks. So my point is this. You can't have it both ways. Black lives matter because there are black folks representing law enforcement, but yet you're saying dismantle the police. It doesn't make sense. Black officers, white officers protect. And
I don't disagree with you. Leo, you're right. It doesn't make sense. But I can tell you, Leo, that there are a lot of black men and women who are in the grave crying out, saying that they were abused by police officers and they died as a result of that abuse. So we got to look at this as a double-edged sword. We got to look at both sides of the picture.
What's happening in this, Ted, is that the Democrats have used racism as a political tool. I have sued police departments for 25 years. It happened, but it's not systemic. There's not institutional racism within police departments. This is not 1960. We don't have Lester Maddox. We don't have George Wallace. This is all a hoax to raise money. That's all it is by Democrats.
Listen, I gotta tell you, law enforcement needs to know that we love them and we care for them. And if somebody steps out of line, they need to help us too to call out those people. But I'm telling you, when you need help, like I've needed help in my life from time to time, you dial 911. You're begging for those police officers to come.
You want somebody to come when you call 911. That's right.
And we appreciate what they're doing. Ted Williams, Leo Terrell, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Democrats are eager to make Washington, D.C. the 51st state, but Republicans are calling it a power grab. Congressman Andy Biggs and Debbie Lesko join me next with Terrell. And later, Sean recently sat down with former House Speaker Newt Gingrich to talk about why this presidential election is one of the most important elections in modern history. You don't want to miss it. Stay with us.